Hi, my name is Josh Lockheed, Training Evangelist here at QuoteWerks, and today I'd like to introduce you to how you can import vendors into the QuoteWerks system. It's a relatively simple process, but the setup is very important as all of the different fields that we'll be mapping will determine how your vendors are displayed in our database and what information you can pull into different documents like purchase orders and more. To start a vendor import, you want to go to Utilities and Vendor Maintenance. This will list all of your existing vendors, but you have the ability to create a new one, edit any of those vendors, or delete vendors. You also have the ability to import, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So by selecting the import button, it's going to give me a quick warning here about VendorRFQ and that I don't want to delete any existing vendors. I'll hit OK. In this case, I want to select a text file to import, but we could just as easily use a template if we have one created already. I'm going to select that file by selecting the three dots next to the item there. And I'm going to go to my sample vendors import document. This is a CSV file. TXT files work just as well. And you can see here that it analyzes our document to determine what type of document it is and how many fields are in the document. I'm going to hit next here, and this is where we start to do our basic mapping. So based on the contents of our file, which we can view here, we're going to want to map the different header lines with the different fields in the QuoteWerks system. So for example, vendor account number, we would use vendor number. For vendor name, we would use company name, so on and so forth. Address for address, city for city, state for state. And then we have the zip and our country, our phone, and that is all that we have currently in our document. That being said, if your vendor offers you minimum order amounts, minimum order fees, terms, an accounting ID, or notes, those can also be captured here as well. We're going to go ahead and hit next, and this is going to bring us to the advanced mapping, which maps our information for our returns as well as our primary contact. So our returns contact will have be contact name, and we'll use the same address that we have as we only have one address for these contacts. Now that being said, you may have instances where the returns information is different than your company or vendor information. So just keep that in mind and use the addresses that make the most sense given your workflow. So we've got the returns information in there, and now we'll choose the primary contact. We don't have a title and role field, although if we did in that document, we could easily bring it over. We do, however, have a phone, and we have an email. So again, we're just going based off what we have available in that document. If you did want to import all of these fields into QuoteWerks, you could certainly do that. All you'd need to do is make sure that those fields exist in your import document. Now that we've done our advanced mapping, we'll hit next. And this is where we have the option to either delete all existing vendors in the vendor database and import vendors, or append our vendors to the existing vendors. And I'm going to choose to append our vendors. You also want to choose the row to start at, and we're going to start at row 2 since the first row is our headers. And you have the option to save this as a template. I'm going to hit no, but we could just as easily save it as a template, give it a name, and use it for future imports. Now that I've got everything set up, I'll hit Start Import, and we'll get a notification that the import is complete. You'll now notice that we have 3 new vendors in our vendors list here. We have IT Warehouse Inc., New Horizons, and the Computer Brothers. We can then use these vendors in our normal day-to-day operations in QuoteWerks. And again, if we wanted to come in and edit any of these, we could easily do so by hitting Edit. As you can see, you can quickly add multiple vendors into the QuoteWerks system using the vendor import function. If you'd like to import multiple contacts for a particular vendor, you can also use the data manager to do that. If you have any questions or would like to learn more, feel free to reach out to our technical support team at 407-248-1481.